Live.
Whoa. Good evening. I am Baba Yaga Walters, and this is Krampusnacht 2020. Hard-hitting journalism that takes in the dark and the light. On tonight's episode, we'll be digging deep into the enigma that is Krampus. Yes, St. Nick's darker half, the horned and hairy legend, the half-goat, half-demon who punishes the children on Santa's naughty list, Krampus. A true man of mystery, an essential part of the Yuletide season. We'll hear from people who knew him, people who cared for him, people who loved him, and some who do not. Hard-hitting interviews that take no prisoners. And then, of course, Krampus himself. To begin, we'll be hearing from our Krampusnacht rural correspondent, Gustavo Gustafsson. Hello, Gustavo. I understand you have Krampus's father on the line.
Yes. Hello, Baba Yaga. I love your work, by the way. Great. Hard-hitting stuff. Yes. We have Krampus Sr. in his first interview. Mr. Krampus, we're very happy to have you speak with us tonight.
Make it quick. Got animals to feed.
Yes, sir, of course. Yes. First, what was Krampus like as a young boy?
Same as any other kid.
Wait, really? He looked like any kid?
No, he looked like Satan.
From the day he was born.
Beelzebub, Lucifer, the Dark Lord, sucking on his mother's teeth.
Did he have horns back then?
Yep, nearly killed his mom, whelping him.
I see.
Other than that, he was just like any other kid.
But he was strange, different.
Not strange, devilish, filled with the devil.
And how did you respond to that?
Beat him.
You beat him.
Yes, sir. Beat the devil right out of him.
Why? Where did you get that idea?
Right in the Bible. Somewhere, ye shall beat the accursed from the earthly form. Something like that.
Excuse me, that sounds harsh.
What my father did to me and his father before him.
So like his father.
Yeah.
And you believe it helped?
Sure. Look where he is today.
How do you mean?
Pictures online, ceremonies celebrating him, books, movies. He's a star.
And you credit that to the beatings?
My father always said, what works for animals works for kids.
I see. Like his father.
Like his father.
Yes. Now, I'd like to turn to his teenage years before he left home. Did he know then that he wanted to work with St. Nicholas and Christmas?
Nope.
Or something else?
A farmer.
He was training to be a farmer.
Yep.
Like his father.
Like his father.
What happened?
No good.
No.
Scared the bejesus out of the animals.
Yes.
Cows went dry, sheep stampeded, chickens dead like that.
Really?
Yep.
Not a farmer.
Only the goats.
Goats?
They took to him.
They got close?
Too close.
too close.
To the she-goats.
The she-goats.
He liked them.
How so?
In that way.
Ah, yes, well, like his father.
Like his father. Hey, what?
Nothing.
You sassing me?
You responded to his attention toward the goats.
Beat him.
Yes, beat him.
Yep.
You're quite a man, sir.
That's it.
Well, I just have a few more questions.
No, I got your game. You're one of them deep state fellers.
No, sir. I'm just doing my job.
Twist my words, too. No, we're done.
Yes.
Got animals to feed.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, for your time. There we have it. Krampus's own father on the making of a legend. Well, now to Krampusnacht 2020 education correspondent. Are you there, Regina Hardwood? Yes. Are you there? Yes? Yes, I think you're muted. Yeah, Regina's a little new to this.
Thank you, Mac Arena. We have Krampus's kindergarten teacher next, Mrs. Braun, here with us. She comes to us with 25 years of experience in the classroom and an MA in elementary education. She wrote her thesis on behavior modification and has worked with many children over the years. So she understands children. Well, at least she understands normal children. There are many questions folks have been asking about Krampus as a young boy, but the main one seems to rise above all others. How did you know that Krampus was a little different than the other boys and girls?
Oh, I knew right away. Most children are terrified to come into the room on the first day. Some cling to their parents, the door frame, to each other. Krampus came into the room alone, found a chapter book from the reading shelf, found his nameplate on his desk, sat down, and started to read quietly. When I asked him to gather at the rug so I could take the first day of school picture, I touched his shoulder gently to get his attention, and he growled at me like a dog. And inside or outside, he always wore a hood, and that's usually the sign of a true outlier. It's a warning sign, so I asked for help from the educational support team. There's a process to getting help. It takes time, sometimes it takes years. I documented like they told me. I tried.
What was Mom and Dad like?
Oh, yeah. I never met them. They didn't drop him off on the first day, and that's a very important day for kindergarten. All the parents usually come, but the office said he arrived on his own. He walked to school every day that school year alone. He walked home alone. It's like his parents didn't exist. They didn't answer any of my phone calls or emails. They didn't attend conferences, open houses, concerts. It was actually kind of sad. I loved him as much as I could, supported him. I don't think I made a difference, and that's something I have to deal with. Sometimes there's nothing else that can be done.
What did he eat for lunch?
Oh, yes. He always had some sort of dark jerky from his metal lunch pail. I never saw him eat any fruits or veggies, and he drank some steaming drink directly from his thermos. I remember thinking it looked like blood, thick like tomato juice, and the color of red Kool-Aid. Knowing what I know now, I'd be surprised if it wasn't blood.
Did he have friends?
None. The kids tried, though. Kids always try to get along at that age, but he did not know how to play the games the other kids played. If it was a tag game, he tackled the tagger and bit him. If it was a ball game, he threw the ball over the fence so that the other kids couldn't get it. Sometimes he just tackled someone for no reason, pulled them off the jungle gym or the swings and just threw them to the ground. If things didn't go his way, he had this terrifying growl, and the kids knew to back away. That was the year I had to go on maternity leave in late January, and boy, was I relieved to be gone at that point, because during the Valentine's Day party, when he didn't get any Valentines in his little box, he seemed distraught. The substitute teacher patted him on the head and tousled his hair and reassured him that she loved him. And the kids said that Krampus grabbed her hand and bit it right off.
What subject in school did Krampus perform well in?
Oh, he was average in math, but reading, that was his thing. While the rest of the children were learning their letters and their sounds, Krampus sat at his desk and he read and read and read. And by week 2 of school, he brought his own books to school. And by Christmas that year, he averaged a Stephen King book a week. His favorite book, Carrie.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I do want to say that we had a child go missing from the playground on the solstice the year that Krampus was in 5th grade. There was no explanation for the disappearance, but I think it was Krampus. I think he ate the kid. It was one of those other kids that had picked on him for years and years. And it would make sense if that's what happened. But on a lighter note, a Christmas note, our bus driver visited our classroom the year he was in kindergarten, and the bus driver dressed as Santa, and little Krampus became like a completely different child. He waited patiently for his turn to climb onto Santa's lap. He spoke in a quiet voice to Santa. He never growled at him either, the way that he growled at most others. He just looked up into Santa's eyes and stroked Santa's beard as if riveted or in a trance or something. He hugged him, and then he put his head on Santa's chest and closed his beady little red eyes and fell fast asleep. His breathing, it sounded like purring. It really did. Some of the other kids didn't even get a chance to sit on Santa's lap, but hey, I figured, let sleeping Krampuses lie,
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. That was illuminating, respirating, and informative. Now to our Krampusnacht 2020 entertainment correspondent, Cha-Cha Slide.
Thank you, Regina. We're here with someone who says she knows a lot about Krampus. Can you please tell us your name and how you know Krampus? Hello?
Yeah, I know a lot. I'm Stevie Stitcher, former bandmate of Krampus. We were in a band together, a punk rock band in the 90s called High Fat Diet.
What stood out to you about Krampus when you first met him? What was his audition like?
Well, he didn't audition per se. The rest of us, Nigel, David, and I, were fighting about which song we were going to do at our next gig, and Mick, our drummer, was having this huge fit about not getting to do his drum solo, and we were like, Mick, shut up. And Krampus was just like walking by. I guess he was like using the Jewish Community Center for something else that day, and I guess he didn't like the sound Mick was making, so he just ate him. And we were like, well, mate, you're in the band now because we need a drummer, and you just ate ours. Don't eat people if you aren't prepared to carry on with their dreams and responsibilities, right? Have some decency.
And what was it like working with him?
Well, there isn't really a working with dynamic with Krampus. It's more like a working around dynamic. He's really impossible to write songs with. He uses the same bass line over and over again, and his lyrics are so unimaginative. The only thing he's good for is the drums, and those are basically a screaming, thumping monster anyway. So Krampus was really well suited to it. But when he was in the band, he only knew how to do 200 beats per minute. So our songs were really fast for like 4 years.
Wow, and what did the fans think of him?
Well, they either loved him or they hated him. There was a tribute band that followed us around for a while all over Germany. They were called Low Fat Snacks, and they just worshipped him. They thought like that he was aloof, that he was hard to get. I mean, literally, you could never get him to stay after the shows. But they loved that air of mystery around him, and they loved to make up their own theories about why he was such a loner. People loved to bake him cookies and stuff, and I was like, he won't eat these, but if you leave your kid with us, he'd love to eat him. One woman actually did leave her kid.
Really?
Yeah, she was really mad at him for something, I guess, and she left him with us for what she probably thought was a temporary period of time. He was super into it because he loved the band and he really wanted to meet Krampus. I gave him a tambourine so we could play along while we jammed for a bit backstage, and then Krampus came back after all the people had left, and little Ben was just so excited. And I said, Krampus, be nice. Eat this kid in one go. Don't fuck around like you sometimes do when you eat people, because that's just cruel. And so we ate Ned, tambourine and all. And Ned went willingly. He must have been really starved for attention at home. Pardon the expression. And then we were off the next day to another gig. So we left a message with the concierge of the hotel to tell Mrs. Lambert if she came by that Krampus ate her son.
Did that happen a lot, eating children?
Oh, only if people were dumb enough to leave their kids with us unsupervised. I mean, that incident was in Florida, so I'm really not surprised. The people of Florida never fail to disappoint.
And did he have any other quirks?
Well, he drank blood before every show.
How do you know it was blood?
Oh, I tasted some.
You tasted blood?
He said it was sangria, but I knew better. Don't judge me. It's got iron in it. It's good for you.
And when did he leave the band?
Oh, we just left him at a hotel in Wittenberg. Things were getting out of hand. Literally. He was eating people's hands off at shows when they would try to wave at him. And we were tired of doing 200 BPM all the time. So we decided to let him down easy by deserting him and leaving him stranded at the edge of the German forest. Funny thing is, I don't think he minded that much.
Oh, thank you, Stevie Stitcher. And now we move on. This just in. I've been handed an urgent update. It seems we have just come upon some very rare footage, not of Krampus, but of the tribute band. Oh, and I hear that now we have one of the members of the band with us. Are you here, Uli?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are.
Hello.
There you are. We just saw your tribute video to Krampus. Very unique music.
Oh yeah, thank you. That was just a little video we made for Krampus. We wanted to show our love and respect for Krampus and all he stands for. What a cool guy.
How long have you been following Krampus?
No, about 5 years now. We travel around in a dark van with tinted windows. hopping from Krampus Fest to Krampus Fest, you know.
Krampus Fest. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about these events?
Oh, mostly a bunch of like-minded Krampheads getting together to let loose and play tribute to the rawest mofo in the world, you know. Krampus is sick, you know. He's the real deal. I can't believe he's going to be on this show. It's so epic.
And so what made you interested in Krampus in the first place?
I just saw one of his shows, you know, once, and I knew it was the scene for me. I've always liked to describe myself as a loner, you know. I think a dark soul, you know. I feel like Krampus and I, you know, we would really see eye to eye. We have a connection. I mean, the dude is just so aloof, you know. And if somebody pisses him off, he just eats the head. Done, you know. And he gets all the ladies also, yeah.
If you're a fan of his music, were you upset when he and High Fat Diet parted ways?
Hell no, that was the best thing to ever happen to Krampus's career, you know. He made that band. Their songs are so slow now. Stevie Sitter can suck it.
Well then, let's delve into this tribute song in your video a little further. You begin with Krampus is good, which translates as Krampus is good. Much like how a church choir might sing God is good, is this how you see Krampus, as a god?
Well, I don't know why you speak about church choirs. We are not a choir, you know. We are badass. We mess things up, you know. But yeah, Krampus is like a god to us, and we will do his bidding, whatever he says.
Well, that certainly is chilling. It's amazing how someone so scary can gain such a following.
Yeah, Krampus is super scary. Unheimlich. Krampus is making scary great again.
I guess you could say that.
Viva Krampus! Ah!
Thank you for joining us. It was fascinating, riveting stuff. And now, before we get to our other interviews, we thought we wouldn't have heard the full story without hearing from Krampus's main partner in crime, Saint Nick, or Santa Claus himself. Sadly, we were unable to reach Santa for comment, but we did find this clip of a deposition where Santa is questioned about Krampus and their relationship.
State your name.
Niklaus.
Is that Mrs.?
No. My prefix is Saint. My name is Sant Niklaus.
Where do you live?
Here, at the North Pole. It's my property. It always has been.
Uh-huh. What do you do?
I am the president and CEO of all of this. We are a global, charitable organization for children, the largest on the planet.
Is, Mr. Krampus in your employ?
No.
Was a Mr. Krampus ever in your employ?
I'd have to speak with my HR department. That's short for Human Resources. We also have an ER department, Elf Resources. Is Krampus an elf? Excuse me for one moment. I do remember a Mr. Krampus. I believe he worked for me a few years ago.
What was his position in your firm?
You've seen the publicity out there, I'm sure. And this is not exactly what you see out there. It's not good for my brand, you see, to be anything but jolly or old. I employed Mr. Krampus to be my sidekick and make me look good. You know, a sort of Ethel to my Lucy, George to my Jerry.
What was his title?
Both Rashida Jones and Rob Lowe are just as good looking as Amy Poehler.
What was his title?
He was the vice president of Vice.
Were you aware that Mr. Krampus killed 36 children and maimed 57?
I killed children. That is just awful. I haven't heard anything that awful since the third quarter numbers.
Would you say that Mr. Krampus was a good employee?
He was pure evil sometimes. You know, when people pick a path and they don't deviate from that path, it can be quite alluring.
Did you find that his behavior deteriorated the longer he was your employee?
Krampus was a bit of a hothead. And once I couldn't control it anymore, I had my people fire him. Now, mind you, I never knew anything about all of the murders. Especially that one in Greenland is brutal, but... No, I didn't know what he was doing, but yes, I'm sorry. I'm sure that I answered your question.
I'm writing it all down. I got it.
If you find Krampus, can you let him know that I plan to sue him? He bit off my hand. I'll get you, Krampus. I will get you. No matter where you are, you can't hide. I know when you've been sleeping, and I know when you are sleeping, and I know when you will sleep. I know it all, and so do my lawyers.
All right. That's a nice hat. You got a nice hat.
Thank you.
That was fascinating, illuminating, and elucidating. Who knew Santa felt that way? And now to the Krampusnacht 2020 People and Places correspondent, Lola Lulabelle. Are you there, Lola?
Thank you so much, Baba. Because we love our viewers and we know that you're all cuckoo for all things Krampus, Krampusnacht 2020 has arranged an exclusive interview with Krampus's one-time paramour, Charlene Hoochknocker. Hoochknocker has long been known as Krampus's one and only romantic connection, which, although short-lived, took the Krampusverse by storm. But no media outlet has managed to meet the reclusive Hoochknocker's unusual requests. Until now, and today, Krampusnacht brings her to you live via satellite link all the way from Soddy Dotty, Tennessee. Look it up. Ms. Charlene Hoochknocker, thank you so much for joining us today.
Y'all sure you've met my demands?
Yes, of course, Ms. Hoochknocker. It's all
because you can't get that many precious moments figurines for cheap. I know that.
Yes, ma'am.
And you better make sure all those cartons of cigarettes, they're genuine Cherokee cigarettes, all right? That's the only thing I smoke.
Yes, well, we'll make sure our producer, Scott, knows about that.
All right, well, I guess I'll talk.
Finally. Thank you. Now, we heard that when you first met, you didn't even know who Krampus really was. Amazing. How did that happen?
Well, I suppose he catfished me, or I catfished him. Who knows these days, right?
What?
Oh, you know, we were both on that christianmingle.com website because I'm looking for, you know, a nice God-fearing man. You know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Hey, Skater! Skater! You better get your skunk. It's out loose again, okay? Oh my goodness. Ooh, I'm sorry. Y'all have to excuse me. If I get sprayed again by one of them skunks, they will not have me back at the Piggly Wiggly, I swear to God. Anyway, so we were both on this website, and you know, I may have put up a picture that wasn't exactly of me, and he may have put up a picture that wasn't exactly him. You know, what's funny is I found out later that he chose that picture of Kurt Russell as Santa as his icon for some reason. That's kind of weird, right? But anyway, bless his heart. I didn't know he was a dang Christmas monster until he showed up outside of my double wide.
Oh my, you weren't expecting him in his true form? And when you saw him, what did you do?
Well, I mean, it was shocking, you know, but I figured, who am I to judge? You know, beggars can't be choosers. I ain't no Anna Nicole Smith, if you know what I'm talking about, you know. So I said, you know, let's just make it work. It was still him that I was talking to on the phone every night for 2 whole weeks. Like, I think I know the guy. So yeah, you know, I just said, let's go with it. I didn't care if he was a little hairy and horny.
This is a family show, ma'am.
Oh, you wouldn't know a real sinner if he kissed you on Saturday and took you to church on Sunday. Anyway, I decided to make it work, but that was before I found out what he really was.
You mean you still didn't know he was Krampus?
Well, when the cat was out of the bag, he's told me that, you know, he liked a woman with a little extra meat on her bones. And he said that my last name, Hoochknocker, meant that I was from good German stock. So, you know, I like that. And, you know, he said his name was Krampus, like it was some kind of a big deal, or I was supposed to know what that meant. And you know what? When you've been dating as long as I have, you just choose to pick your battles, you know? I mean, if you want to pretend that you just only have one name and there's legends about you and, you know, there's little children shaking in their boots over you, fine, you know? Just don't tell me about your home brewing in your basement, you know, or you're like, your day trading habit, or your hand painted Lord of the Rings figurines, or your fan fiction. Oh God. Anyway, yeah, but really Krampus, you know, he could be a real sweetie sometimes. You know, he'd always pinch my spare tire and say something like Schmeck's gut in German. I don't know what that meant, but it was real sweet. And he was always offering to watch Skeeter and little Bobby Joe so Meemaw could rest her goiter while I was at the Piggly Wiggly. So that was real sweet. You know, he tried to take care of me the best he knew how.
Very kind indeed. And with things going so well between you, what was it that happened that ended the relationship? Krampus fans all over the world are dying to know.
Well, I mean, you know, after a while, the paparazzi hunted us down in Saudi Daisy, and they were just swarming the place, you know? That was kind of stressful. Although I did like being part of a celebrity couple. And that's how I knew that he was the real deal, you know, because everybody was calling him Krampus. And there was like cramp heads following him around. There's a Krampus Fest. Did you know that? Anyway, so, you know, I kind of liked being a celebrity. But there was something else, which was as it started to get colder and winter came around, he started to act real strange. Like some nights I come home late from the Piggly Wiggly and all the lights in the trailer will be off. And he was just standing there in the doorway to the kids' bedrooms, maybe kind of drooling or something. But anyway, you know, the kids still miss him, you know. Don't y'all miss him? Don't y'all miss him? They do. They do miss him. Yeah. Yeah, he left a note. One day I just woke up and he was gone, and he left a note that said something like, "For dich und sie gehe ich." That's German, but I don't know what it means.
I believe it's something like, "For you and them, I go."
Huh. I wonder what that means.
No idea. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks, Ms. Hoochknocker, and good luck with your life.
Oh, hey, one more thing. We got a litter of 10 skunks just now, like 5 minutes ago, you know. It's so we can have them for sale, you know, for a small
Ms.
fee.
Hoochknocker.
You know, Skeeter can degland
I'll
them.
take
You can
it.
have
I'll
them in
take
your
a scan.
fancy apartment.
No, hey,
I'll take one. Okay, you can email me highfatdiet92@aol.com.
cut her off, please.
Yeah, okay. Just send it to me, Miss Hoochknocker. It'll be good.
Okay, but
is
just email me
sangria.
a juicy hooch princess.
Thank you again, Miss Hoochknocker. And now we have a different perspective from Krampus, spiritual guru.
Actually, I know I'm only a priest. Yeah.
Yeah, Krampus's spiritual guru and shaman, Father Frank Gruber.
Hello. I have a few remarks. I was always very concerned for Krampus. He was a regular churchgoer, but he struggled as others felt so uncomfortable around him because of his look. He would often sit in the back, away from his family, so no one would, as he put it, have to look through Satan's horns to see God's minister. So he sits in the back, and I struggled with how to reach him with my ministry, but then I noticed that he always responded to the stories that had Satan in them. Now, I am not the hippest pastor around, but I know about goths and Satanists and the Wiccans. I know they exist. You would think that Krampus would fit right into those groups, what with their use of gold imagery and the horns. But he has always remained a devout Christian. I'm not sure how to explain how that is true. But there is one story that comes to the heart of it for him. He would listen intently to my sermons and would come up and speak with great knowledge about the Bible text of that day. And he clearly knew his Bible well. But he struggled with being good. Not just with being good, but the whole idea of good. He would challenge the idea of heaven that most people had, all the clouds and the perfection, the white robes and the singing. He felt that a place like that had no color, no passion. He was concerned that most of what was colorful and dramatic in the Christian faith seemed to be associated with evil and with sin. He felt like he must be evil and had no place in the church. But one day at the end of church, I believe I was teaching a lesson on Job. And he ran up to me, and he's the most excited I'd ever seen him. He drooled a bit in his enthusiasm. And to have good, there must be evil, he said to me. Good doesn't exist without a darker shade. There is evil to teach good. He was never the same after that. He seemed to find himself, And then when we met up with Santa Claus, he really found himself as the dark side of Christmas, And the rest, as they say, yes, is history, He comes back to the church when his schedule allows, and mostly in summer, And now he sits in the front and he sings out loud, Very proud and happy, Thank you.
Thank you, Father. And now back to the home studio.
Oh, good. Hello. Here I am back. Sorry, wasn't ready. And there we go. And now, for those of you just tuning in, I'm Baba Yaga Walters, and this is Krampusnacht 2020. And now the interview you've all been waiting for, Krampus himself. Hello, Krampus, are you there? There you are. Good evening, Mr. Krampus. Thank you for joining us. From what we've learned tonight, you had an unusual childhood. Would you agree with that statement? Would you say you suffered as a child?
Ja.
From a lack of friends?
Ja.
From bullying over your horns?
Ja.
From being an outsider even when your existence was necessary to balance the light and the darkness of the Christmas season?
Ja.
Oh, there, it's all right. Baba Yaga understands. Earlier, we heard from your father, who said that you were amorous with the goats. And we heard from Santa, who said that you ate her hand.
Ja.
I can tell from your furrowed brow that you disagree with those statements. Is that true?
Ja.
It is said that you are the counterpart to St. Nicholas, Father Christmas, who rewards well-behaved children with gifts, while you, Krampus, must punish the bad children who have misbehaved. Do you ever wish that you could be the gift giver? Would you say throughout your anguished half-demon, half-goat life that you suffered from a lack of love? If you were Santa this year, what would you do differently? I see, that's very interesting. Anything else? Well, that certainly would be surprising. But don't you think the children would be disappointed on Christmas morning if their presents were buried in the yard rather than placed under the Christmas tree? We also heard from your girlfriend, or should I say, former girlfriend, Charlene. Charlene told us off the record that she never felt like she got enough attention and affection from you, that it felt like the bad children were the loves of your life, not her. Care to comment? Oh, and your bandmate said you had a noticeable penchant for bad girls, and she also mentioned that she never saw you with the same girl twice. We also heard from your kindergarten teacher and others that perhaps you have a taste for eating children. Would it be far-fetched to assume you were eating your bad girlfriends?
No
comment. Well then, changing the subject, I've heard that in Europe, and now also in some US cities, there are Krampus Parades in your honor, where regular humans dress up as you and march through the streets clanging bells and scaring children. Do you have any words of advice for these would-be Krampuses? You are so right. The spirit of Krampusnacht isn't in the fancy furry costumes, but deep within our cold black hearts. Thank you, Krampus, for coming on the show. Have a good rest of your night and an excellent Krampusnacht. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into this special holiday episode of Krampusnacht. Tonight, we shed some light on the dark mystery of Krampus. Krampus, your camera is still on. Krampus. There he goes. As I was saying, tonight we shed some light on the dark mystery of Krampus and discovered that even demons have feelings. I'm your host, Baba Yaga Walters. Thank you and good night.
There's our story of a man named Krampus, a demon challenge living in the modern world. He is so misunderstood by everybody, and he is all alone until Krampusnacht.
Krampusnacht.
Use them to celebrate Krampusnacht.
Krampusnacht.
That was insane.